In this video I will show you how to create a function in which you put in a certain data frame or a matrix or a longer vector, and you want to have an output as a smaller vector or something else. So let's take the example where we take Joule as the data frame, and we're going to save it into an object that's called data. We're going to create this new object. And let's say that we want to create a mean, so we can also just call it means, or let's create it new, it's more generic. Then we're going to create a function, based on this data, and then we're going to create a for loop within this function. Now, remember again, our idea was that we want to calculate the means, the call means. So we could also just call it call means. So if we want to calculate this call means, we first have to have an iteration across the columns in the data. So if we say j for each column, and j, we make it a different number depending on the column in the data frame. Yeah. So if you would just only perform this, so let's just only perform the j data or Joule data Joule. And let's save Joule as data set. So now we see indeed that j always takes a different value. Now remember, this data does not need to exist in your environment. This is simply for you to call data later on in the function. Yeah. So here we actually define that data should be the data set Joule. Okay. Now we can use the j to take the jth column from data, and like we said before, we want to calculate the mean. So we're going to take the mean function, and we're going to do an array. We're going to disregard all the NAs, and then we're going to save this in the new object. However, if we do this every time, then we overwrite the new object every time. Yeah, so let me just show you. So maybe we can first also make a print into this function, so we see what's happening inside. So as you can see, these are all the means of the different columns. So this is the last column with the last mean. But we would like to have an object with all the columns included. So how do we do that? We make use of creating a null object, and we combine this null object with the new mean that is calculated. Now if we run it now, you see that every time it runs, it will add another mean to this new object. So for a function to operate, you usually also add a return function, and we just call it the new variable. So if we now do that, then it returns only the last run, right, where all the means are added.